in the NFL, which starts in 1 week and 1 day, I guess, which is pretty surprising. We have Leonard Fournette signing a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's an agreement in principle right now, but this is big news in the NFC South. The Bucs are even more stacked on offense, I guess, and Tom Brady has some more help. So, Gabe, I'll go to you first. How does the NFC South look now that Leonard Fournette, another piece, has been added to this already deep Bucs offense?
Yeah, I gotta say the depth chart for pretty much every position besides maybe the O line in Tampa Bay, it's absolutely ridiculous. Even defensively, they've got some young stars that are just improving. But with the addition of Fournette, you finally get that consistent running back that you've been looking for so long. I mean, you got Ronald Jones, who's a promising prospect. He had a couple of great games last year, but he's still got some work to be at that star level that you want him to be. So for the time being, Leonard Fournette is a great piece to have alongside Tom Brady, Gronk, Mike Evans, Godwin. That they all want to compete. They all want to win. For the young Buccaneers, even for the veteran Buccaneers, it's been a couple of years since any of them have really won anything. Tom Brady and Gronk obviously won that Super Bowl 2 years ago. But for the rest of the core, it's been a while since they've won. They finally got some winning culture with Brady and Gronk, and they finally got that running back that can make some plays. So this is going to be a fun team to watch, but I still think that the Saints are going to win the division. I think that all these new pieces, not kind of similar to the Browns, even though they're going to be a lot better than the Browns, they might get off to a slow start. I still think that when the playoffs come, the Buccaneers might be the team to beat besides possibly the Niners and the Chiefs again. But this is going to be an exciting team to watch. I'm kind of intrigued to see how the chemistry is going to play out. But yeah, it should be a fun division. I still think they'll just go in as a wild card, though.
Yeah, Saints Bucs week 1 matchup is in just over a week. So we'll definitely see how that shakes out. One thing to note is I don't know how the Bucs are going to have some identity on offense, right? Because Leonard Fournette is like a workhorse, and you got to give him a lot of touches. You got to give him a lot of runs for him to get going and pound the ball. But he's not a great receiving running back. And Tom Brady usually likes receiving running backs. So I just don't know where that balance comes between the passing game and the running game in Tampa Bay. But Leonard Fournette obviously is a great upgrade from Ronald Jones. Kevin, how do you feel about Leonard Fournette influencing the NFC South rankings?
Yeah, just to comment on your fact about the offensive identity. Tom Brady has played with powerhouse running backs along with, pass catching running backs. I think that's why they drafted Keyshawn Vaughn in the draft, just so that he can give that pass catching ability. I'm not going to lie. The Buccaneers look very good on paper. This is giving me Cleveland Browns vibes, though, because, remember the hype with the Cleveland Browns when they got Odell Beckham Jr. They were saying Jarvis, Odell, David Njoku, Baker Mayfield, and improved Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Like, that's a loaded offense. And now, don't get me wrong. Bruce Arians is no Freddie Kitchens, and Tom Brady is no Baker Mayfield. But, I still think that the hype will get the best of the Buccaneers at some point. I think the Buccaneers will make the playoffs. I think that they will have a deep run in the playoffs potentially. But this is still the Saints division because the Saints have a great offense and they have continuity with that, which is a huge, huge plus in the era of a pandemic-ridden world. So I'm going to give the edge to the Saints, but I don't think we should count out the Bucs. And everyone says the Bucs don't have a good defense. Yes, they do. They had the number 1 rush defense last year, and they have great pieces on their defensive line. And also they added some secondary people like Antoine Winfield Jr. So do not count out these Bucs, but let's calm down on the hype.
And Geoffrey, do you have the Bucs winning this division now, or where are you standing with regards to the NFC South?
All right, so the Bucs really have one weakness. They have great O-line. They had a pretty good quarterback, and they had great wide receivers. And the only weakness was running back, and now they got a running back. But with that being said, Leonard Fournette hasn't been the greatest running back the past year or so because he's been extremely inefficient with the Jaguars, and he's had some injury problems. His ankle is usually, he tweaks it usually, and because of that, he misses some games. And there's a pandemic going on, right? and because of that, training camps aren't like what it usually is. And like Gabe said, it's going to take some time for the Bucs to adjust to this new offense with new quarterbacks. And because of that, I still have the Saints winning the division, especially with the team that they retained their almost whole team, and they have Drew Brees, who is continuing to play at an MVP level every year.
And if you don't mind, Sarah, just to chime in here, I just want to comment on one thing Geoffrey said about Leonard Fournette's efficiency. I think Leonard Fournette isn't the best running back. He was probably not top 5 right now, but the Jaguars' offensive line is not known to be great. And also, I think he had over 1,000 rushing yards last year and over 4 yards per carry, which is pretty good for a bad team like the Jacksonville Jaguars. But when I see people give lists and of all these players on the Buccaneers, Gronk, Shady McCoy was supposed to be the starter for the Chiefs last year and lost a job to Damian Williams and barely played any games all of last year. So I think we're more focused on the flashy names rather than what they have done in the past. Gronk has been out of football. Shady McCoy has proven to be inconsistent. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's good, but how will they adjust to Tom Brady, who's not a gunslinging quarterback now like Jameis Winston is? So it's going to be a completely different offense, but I would still say Leonard Fournette is a huge, huge plus to this offense.
I actually believe that Leonard Fournette averaged less than 4 yards per carry last year. And I mean, he did have 1,000 rushing yards, but I think that's because of all the carries he got. And I believe there's a stat which states that when the Jaguars have other running backs who are rushing the ball, they actually average more yards and were more efficient than Leonard Fournette was.
You know why?
When he was.
You know why? Because when Leonard Fournette's in the backfield, defenses stack the box, put 7, 8, 9-man boxes. So because they know that Leonard Fournette is a working running back who powers through the middle. But I mean, I would concede that to you though. Leonard Fournette isn't the most efficient as he was, at least in college.